thing to note here, though, is Queasy, Trulix, and Juriki shooting all the way up into second now, and they are closing that gap. Zeke, I hear the laugh, Zeke, but you know it. They are closing that gap. They are looking to try and become FNCS champions at the end of today.
Yeah, and it's looking like it could be not only them in the running, though, because Rescard and Dress Savage, huge game for them. Forzy, Artase, and Nate, too. Look at the difference between first all the way down till third, and we can't count out Hen, Janice, Chapix, too. Look at how close all of these players are in the top 4 with 4 games remaining. And I must say, this is going to be an exciting 4 games going forward. Any of these teams right now are completely in the running.
This is only game 2. Look, you guys know that I stress. I feel the emotions. Don't do this to me. I mean, I'm down. Like, you know what? Let's keep making this a close competition to the very end. I'm super down. But once again, man, Queasy and his trio, I don't understand why people are just allowing them to be up there. Just stop them from getting high ground. They're going to close out games if you let this happen. But again, there's all these other trios, man. It's literally like there's a feeding frenzy on EU right now. And it's just like whoever finds that window to attack, they're gonna close it out. But okay, I know, Zeke, I know, it's game time. We're jumping back into the action. This is game number 3 on the day, aka 9 of this series. Let's get into all the action.
In EU right now, it's all about the win, Sancho, and it looks like Trulix, Queasy, Jerky, they're doing it the best.
You got to think about it. Aussie Antics on the NAE's broadcast, it says, you know, high ground gets games, low ground wins tournaments. But so far, Queasy, Trulix, and Jerky are flipping that table, putting it on the other side, and they're looking really solid here in day 2. As I mentioned, day 1, they had height all the time, and they almost were able to walk away with multiple victory royales. And they most likely decide, you know, we just got to cheer up the defense. We have to make sure the backside is being protected, because that's all the time they have been happening, is they would lose it on the high ground retake coming from a flank with just normal builds. And that's what's so fantastic about this meta, is that you're able to kind of hold on to height. There's no bouncers, there's no shockwaves, there's no caddy launcher to kind of come up in there to take it away from you. So we're seeing what they can do. Now, the question going forward, as we're going to get into the later stages of the game, as you do see Weeping Woods already, the save it battle versus Blaster is still continuing there, is who is going to change up their kind of strategy. And when they change the strategy, and this is where it gets kind of tricky here, Revscar getting knocked in midair, this is where it gets dangerous, because as I mentioned, what ends up happening as the tournament goes on, people change up their strategies and they try to stop you from winning. We saw it in season 4 when Mongrel's trio was being all of a sudden got pushed out of Stark Industries. We saw it in season 5, right? All the teams landing on SETI to slow him down in day 1. So the question will be, who is going to slow down Revscar? And it looks like Elo, Kras, and Hottie and Tripper are here to stop and slow down Indretta's trio.
They're hunting for Revscar too. I don't think Indretta's gonna be able to go back and pick him up. He's hiding under a bridge though, so those free mats might be tough to find. For Hottie's trio, they're actually looking directly under it. They understand how far refs can actually crawl. Meanwhile, another trio goes down on the other side of the map. I'd have to imagine that's either Retail Row or Craggy Cliffs. There's so many big fights going down in Retail between 2 ex-teammates as well. It's so, I would say, sad to watch, because you want to make sure everyone here is having a good day overall. I believe that's Wolfie's fighting it out, or Slender actually fighting it out with Kiko on that side. But as we look at Craggy, it might be a 2-man operation for this trio, although they're working really well to get to end game. There's always this clutch. We saw Savage try to do it in one of the games yesterday. We had Andretta in that last game survive as this trio went down and get all the placement towards the very end and at least one more moving zone. They're gonna have to clutch again as a duo this time, starting off early.
I think the theme of day 2, Shayo, is patience. Patience is showing what patience could work out to, being consistent, just trying to work their way in, net a couple points here, 20, 30 points right now. They're averaging 25.88 points here, so they're doing really solid, keeping up the pace. And we have to say, will Noah Riley, as you see on the bottom right of your screen, will that patience hold on? It's going to be tested. Every time they see a box fight, every time they see anyone rotating out in the open, that is going to be like, do we box dive in? Do we go back to our old ways? Because, you know, habits are hard to break. You know what they say? It says it takes 2 weeks to form a habit. Maybe here in the Fortnite world, it takes about 3 games. Maybe that's your new habit for the rest of the way.
It might be. I feel like the habits formed in this game are also centered around emotions. Like when it comes to this trio, they're looking real good so far. Meanwhile, though, Craggy Cliffs, it looks like Hen, Janice, Chapix actually end up going down starting off this game. It might be an off-spawn scenario. It might have been a third party completely. But, you know, we're talking about emotions. They have to be emotional after that one. They're slowly falling behind these three teams, Jerky, Tayson, and Savage, game after game. They've now gone all the way down to 4th place. Used to be up top near 1st. Yeah, absolutely. Vortex, Knight, I don't see Hikers just yet. That might have been the cost of the fight. Are going to be here, surviving for this game, and inhibiting Chapixen and Janice for getting any points.
The mental of our defending FNCS champions will be tested. They've had lost only one engagement yesterday, and every time they walked out of it, they got 2 victory royales with double-digit eliminations. The other times, they ran into Vidil. Vidil had a vendetta. Last season, Vidil's trio got taken out by Hens Trio in that $100,000 box fight. I will never forget that call. That was an intense situation, and that's what it all came down to last season. We're getting closer and closer to the final game here out of the 12. This is just a halfway point here in day 2, and already we are already seeing like all the Savage fans are High Chris fans right now, right? All the Hin fans are like the Tripper fans right now. They're all just hoping that the other can like drop spot fights go the opposite way. And wow, this is the FNCS.
Think about the ramifications of that off spawn. Now we have a trio in 30th place who's allowed to end up playing this entire game, right? Usually boxed out by a higher team. In terms of High Chris, Vortex, and Knight being in 30th, being inside an end game, you might not be thinking totally of the comeback. You might be thinking about, you know, taking more risks, going just completely for the win, not doing the most consistent and expected plays. It's going to be dangerous for everyone else. This game might be a lot more trickier to navigate.
If they could break through that threshold, we're talking about thousands of dollars. So it's worth them to throw everything at the wall, throw that spaghetti, see if it sticks, because we're talking about a couple commas and zeros every time you move up that leaderboard.
Yeah, but they're going to be working against the grain, right? For people like Kiriachi, like 4-0 we saw right now. You talked about it, Sancho. Patience. They're waiting. They have a game plan and it's working. For trios like High Chris, like Vortex and Knight, they don't care about patience. This is the first time they get to play a game today, right? They're going to be going through fast. If there's a box fight they're not meant to take, they might just do it for the elims. That might change everything. We have a very dangerous trio playing this game.
And this trio right here, we haven't really shown a lot of love on the broadcast, but it just seems like every FNCS tournament, there's always a trio that, you know, when they do that drone panning shot in game, like, oh, hey, look, Stormy's, they're there, right? They're there.
Yeah.
You just keep repeating their name. They're still in this fight. And that's what their ride was in day 1. And they're still keeping up that same set of pace here. Right now, they're looking at 5th place. And with 4th place already down, they can move up the board even more.
I'll tell you why this trio doesn't get love. They're endgame mannequins. They don't do anything when they're alive. They don't get any elims. Usually when Kiriachi 2s are playing around, they survive. They make very smart rotations, maybe getting 1, 2, or 4 elims a game. The thing, though, I feel like, you know, this might be a situation where mannequins come to life. Last game, 9 eliminations, 4th place. They're definitely switching things up. Their win condition today is eliminations. They're playing the right type of Fortnite game. They need to play the other side of it, though, and actually have an impact in their zones and lobby. And Nos is by himself too, walking around right now. But yeah, Kiriachi needs elims. They're doing it off the start of the day. Need to make sure they keep it up.
Mannequins Coming Alive is totally an 80s movie reference right then and there. And now we have Noah Riley Reason and Vidil. It's so interesting, though. I thought this trio would be able to push out to the coast. I thought they would go back into being more aggressive, being more that ruthless trio, you know, taking out those legions of players. But I don't know who is this? Who is this team? Like, I want to know who is this team.
I'll tell you what happened. I was talking about emotions before, right? These guys feel really good and they're happy when they're pushing teams and it works out. When that doesn't happen, you start to get negative emotions associated with that push, right? Now today, they're playing patience and they're getting points. You get points, you're happy. They're just riding those emotions, and now the patience is coming naturally. So very emotional team. What they're doing is making them very, very happy. They know it's working. They're getting points. They're going to keep doing it.
They're going to the gym. You know, this is like their 2nd week. They're seeing the abs kind of pop out a little bit. They're like, okay, maybe I'll stick with this new lifestyle, and at the same time, I'll stick with this diet. But these guys, they love to eat, and right now they're just holding on. You know, they're just, hey, they're calorie deficient. They're making sure they're leaning out, because when they get lean, they are dangerous and they are mean.
Other side of it, we're watching it. Waze actually in the distance. They also like fighting a lot, but the patience sometimes comes at an offbeat, like a weird time. Sometimes too patient when they should be aggressive. They're still learning that type of game, and they're actually very similar, I would say, to Vidil, O'Reilly, and Reason when it comes to, you know, approaching mid and end game. But we'll see. They're kind of in the same spot. Maybe they can also bring it up. 7th place, rolling into. They're looking really good throughout the day. The aggression hasn't been turned on completely, but you know, they're very consistent at just making games. 2/3 back to back from Nebs, Bubak, and Waze rolling through actually gets them all the way into the top 10. If they can get another third, I mean, lucky number 3 for this trio. They're looking real good. Meanwhile, 4-0 Nate, Tayson, I mean, there's so much to talk about with these guys. Top 3 right now. You know, lots of doubts in the preseason, lots of doubts while we were watching them from qualifiers to heats. They fixed everything. Yes. And once again, they're surviving. I have their win condition just kind of written down, as we talked about it last game a little bit as well, Sancho, for the tournament. They need to start owning these games, making it their own. What are the names we've been talking about in the last few games? We said Trulix a lot. We said Savage. We're talking about Hen. It feels like, once again, 4-0, Tayson, and Nate are paint on the wall. Definitely there, but they're not the talk of the town so far. They need to be that way. They need to make these flashy plays if they want to win this tournament.
They can do it. 22 elims in the heat stage.
Yeah,
it's in there. It's in there. It's in there. Mappy, Red Rush, Asterios, not kind of having the same success that they had in the previous day. Slowly slipping out of the top 3. Right now, coming in 8th. Shio. It's just right now their style is about playing center. So they're coming out of the Cami split. Now Andreas, the Savage, and Rescard now back in full force. They were able to get the reboot card and bring them back their trio mate. So that's looking good. It's slowing down though. So they may not have strong weapons, or they may not have all the mats and resources. So expect this trio to be a little bit more aggressive. Marine is now sending in the Sting Post to open up their rotation to slow down the peak. And so what you gotta do, man, you gotta send in those stink bows just to open up a little bit. That's gonna give the signal for Refsguard and Jordan Savage to rotate through to Lazy Lake, which has been a battleground in this tournament.
These guys have to have extra health or something. They survive so many crazy situations. Refsguard going down off spawn. They have to travel to get the reboot. They do it in enough time and then have a chance to actually have some type of loadout. You're right, Sancho, it's kind of weak, but what does this mean for Refsguard being rebooted? This trio allowed to play this game. They're in first, Sancho, right? With them alive, full forces. This mean Queasy, Trulex, and Jerky, they have a tough time, you know, kind of taking hold of this game. They're on screen right now too. This is perfect. You know, they're gonna have a tough time kind of taking over first if that team's alive. Same thing for 4-0, Nate, and Tayson. They'll have a tough time if Savage is alive. It might even look like Trulex, Queasy, and Jerky might not stay this way the entire game. Snazy's here. This is Southside, and Alex's home. It's been invaded by multiple teams. And now they're looking to just fight one off for the moment. I'm not sure how far this fight will go, but you never know right now. These things are still being thrown in.
This is a wrestling match that's getting sweaty and is getting dirty right now between the old guard and the new. This Trulix's trio is a newly formed right now. Trulix, of course, playing last season with Pink and Stormy, or I believe it was Stompy. They had a fantastic run. Trulix arming that RPG. Jerky and Queasy, of course, forming with their respective trios here. Queasy playing with Roscoe and Paco. And wow, I mean, for them to be able to hold on right now, look at this. There's a 3-trio kind of standoff right now with Fast Roxy, Ardent, and Pizza coming from Misty. And then you have this team from Camp Cod. You know, Snaze's trio, they're going to want this fight because they're low on Storm Surge. Because you come from Camp, you know this is your opportunity to get those tags in.
Wow, Queasy's still finding a way in these bases with 2 teams around them. Shoot off on another way far away on a hill. That's crazy. That's huge for the tags as well. And man, I wish Ardent, Pizza, and Fast Roki had a theme song. It feels like every time there's a third party coming through, these guys roll in with a jingle and they're the ones to cause chaos every single time, whether it's at Lazy Lake, now it's down below at Camp Cod. I always have some type of song playing in my head when I see Fast Roki on screen. They just make things crazy.
It's basically, that's a third party, right? That is what they're, that's a third party. So that right now is just being so aggressive all over the place, and Lazy Lake is where they like to push on through. So they're seeing some opportunities to get some tags here on the Storm line edge. Red Rush in center. Zone is pushing them a little bit further. This is very going to be interesting in-game style if it goes down to Misty Meadows Lake. We see Zako's trio already setting up an opportunity here. We've seen when it was here in Lazy Lake yesterday, Jules was able to hold on to height there in game 4, but there was 3 different height retakes and they lost it. And Pizza is actually getting gobbled right now. Down he goes. Wolfies is getting eliminated. Elo Cracks again eliminating the feed. Now this engagement is opening up just a little bit more, just like Pistachio Nut just opens up a little bit more. Before you know it, they're going to be able to gobble that up and get some confirmation and some 2 Elim points.
Fast Roki down, the third party trio not going to be able to operate today for this game. the one trio to watch has to be Red Rushes. They ended up coming second all the way on low ground, played it really well. They're kind of the kings of